For you all on the week 2 discussion concerning the moth storytellers that you guys examined in the learning materials for week 2. I have uploaded your feedback to the grades area for the discussion. You will notice if you click on course tools and then grades that you can find this general feedback. I will post general feedback that kind of tells you the criteria for earning full points here in this area. You'll notice that this is general feedback to the entire class, and then you'll have your points grade here. Obviously, I don't get a grade, so I don't have a grade, but you'll have a points grade here, and then you can see the different criteria and what you made, and if you lost any points, you can say, oh yeah, I didn't define the word memoir, so I lost a point or whatever. You can kind of see what the criteria was and kind of figure out your grade from there. On the discussion board, I'll be giving you very general feedback in the grade area, but then I'll be making these very short videos. Just this one's going to be a little longer because I'm talking about grades and I also want to talk about Pixton. But, just a 5-minute video that kind of tells you what I thought were the highlights of the discussion of the week and some kind of food for thought. I really want you guys to think of the discussion board as a place where it's not me going through and marking you right or wrong. It is me reading. Trust me, I read everything that you guys are saying. It's me kind of facilitating in the background and watching what you guys are seeing and thinking as you're interacting, and then kind of storing that. So later when I'm looking at your writing, in your short writing assignments, I can offer you individually the best advice. So, for example, tomorrow and Thursday, I'll work on getting short writing assignment 1 graded for you guys, and that will actually have individual feedback on the assignment. Whereas, the annotations and the discussion, those are just good participatory activities that are helpful to you, that are going to help you learn the materials, and they're going to teach you new skills, but they aren't really right or wrong, right? They're just, I did it and I, participated. In the case of this discussion, make sure, or any other discussion for that matter, make sure that you're following the instructions, you're answering the questions that I'm asking you to answer, and that you're really, doing all the things, engaging with your colleagues, try to talk with at least 2 colleagues on the boards. You will notice that we have a lot of students in this class. They added an extra section to my courses kind of late in the registration process. And so we've ended up with 3 sections in this class. So you will notice that there are like 70 students in this course right now. So there are a lot of students on the discussion board. You might not read through every post, but you should be reading a handful of the posts. I just realized I have it set up as a student, so it's not going to let me view it. Because if you notice no one's posted on the discussion board, it could very well be because you haven't made a post yet. For some of the discussions, I have it where you need to make a post first, and that's because I want you guys to focus on making your own original content. Not that you, dear listener to this video, or viewer of this video, would ever copy what someone else did, but those bad students that aren't you that would do that, this kind of discourages them from doing that and also encourages you to come up with your own ideas. So that's kind of my little discussion board spiel, but I want to get into what I really enjoyed seeing on the discussion board this week, in addition to some different some of my ideas about what I saw and some of my favorite things, as well as some tips for how you might improve your own discussion posts. So I'm scanning through here. There was one post that I read, and I have a screenshot of it if I can't find it quickly. Hold on, because I tried to do that, but then you couldn't read the whole thing. Which one is it? It's this one right here. Denisha's post. When I first started reading her post, and I want you guys to know, just because you might not read all 70 students' posts, I do read everything you write and everything that you're saying to each other. I just don't think that, I think that if I jumped in every time someone said everything, it would be very intimidating. And I don't want you guys to feel like I want you guys to feel like this is a space to have a dialogue with your classmates, not have a dialogue with me. There are going to be other opportunities for you and I to have dialogues. And for me, like right now, I'm able to talk to you as a class as a whole, and, through video or whatever. But, this is like y'all's place. And I really enjoyed Denisha's post because she was like, I'm going to be honest, if I can be, which I'm like, yeah, go ahead, be honest. This is boring. And I was like, oh no. But I think that most of the time when we think of like school stuff, sometimes we can think, oh, this is going to be really boring. But I promise you, I try to pick things that are interesting. I really am not trying to bore you. But Denisha goes on to say, but after she just listened because she had to, she was like, hey, this is kind of interesting. Now, this might not go down as the top story ever heard by Denisha, but she seemed to have kind of, been like, okay, I can do this. I like this. And there was a really good discussion here about both of the storytellers and memoir. And then what I really loved about this post, sorry, Denisha, what is your last name? Tough. Okay, so you're going to be down here in the T's. What I really enjoyed about this post was not just the post. The post is good. It's fine. It meets all the criteria. But also, I really enjoyed the dialogue on the post that talked about, other students having this reaction. And the reason why, it's on the second page. That's why I'll never find it. The reason why I particularly enjoyed this dialogue is because a lot of times, you guys, when you're on the discussion post, you're like, great job, good thoughts, thanks. And that doesn't mean anything. You're just trying to like get it on there so you can get some points. I mean, I don't hate you for it. I understand why you're doing that, but it's really not what I want to happen. I want you guys to be classmates. Online classes can be, in some ways, kind of isolating. I know some students enjoy that about online classes, but, we need, as part of a humanities requirement, to discuss things with other humans. So I really want you guys to kind of, really talk about it. And I think this is what happened here, oh my gosh, I had the same first reaction too, but then, it really grabbed my attention. And, there was really, I felt like a natural dialogue coming in here. And then Crystal, brought to the conversation the fact that, she really enjoyed this, and she really, learned something about this woman and felt that it was, a great way to grab the audience's attention. So now we're really starting to talk about some elements of the genre, and I think that this is a really good discussion because of that. And then Carla comes in and all this other stuff's good too. If you're on here, Brittany, you did good too. But Carla comes in and says, it's really engagement. And I like how she added that to the conversation. Like, everyone's talking around this term, and then Carla brings us the term, right? So this is the kind of dialogue I want to see. I want to see you guys really talking with each other, not at each other. It might be hard to believe, but I am a person on the other end of this class. I made these materials. I created this stuff. I am reading your writing. I'm reading your emails. I'm fixing mistakes that I make because I am a human, not a robot. And you guys in the class, the other people that are taking this class with you, are not like virtual, it's not The Sims, right? It's like people that are really there reading what you're saying. And I love to see that kind of dialogue. Is the dialogue that happened on this post like finding a cure for cancer? No, we're just talking about two ladies in two stories that we saw presented at the Moth on their YouTube page, or I guess it's directly on their website, on their website, and we're just talking about them, okay? That's what we want to get the dialogue going, right? So I really enjoyed, that post because of the dialogue. There were also some other posts that I really enjoyed, and I'm like getting close to over 10 minutes, so I just want to kind of wrap this up because I want you to actually watch the whole video. But I really enjoyed some of the dialogues about genre and the genre of memoir and all the different elements. People talked about humor and using emotion and establishing your expertise. These are all good things that you can use in your memoir and as we develop our major assignment 1. And I'm going to talk more about that in the week 3 materials, and you're going to see that. But I just want you to, one thing I want you to keep in mind is when you turn that digital literacy narrative into a graphic depiction, it's going to be totally different. I want you to tell me a story about your history as a digital reader or writer. And so it's going to be a story with a beginning, middle, and end, right? And it's going to have all the details. And so think of how these people told the story and gave you the details. Oftentimes when students say, well, I only have like 2 slides, I don't know what to say. I'm like, I don't know who your mom is. Like, give me some details. I don't know where you live or what your house looked like or what your schoolroom looked like. If you're going to talk about, a lot of students will talk about, this day I'm older, but the first time I played on a computer in a computer lab at school, well, what year was it? What kind of computer was it? What was the teacher like? Who was your best friend that was sitting next to you? Give us the juicy details. And if you can't remember all the way back to the time of your story, it's creative nonfiction. I am not going to call your grandma and be like, excuse me, was Juan actually, was his teacher's name actually Mrs. Wilson? I mean, maybe her name was Williams, but he's forgotten and he thinks it's Wilson. Nobody's gonna know, okay? I'm not telling you to outright lie. That would be crazy, but like, if you forget a detail, be like, any good Southern storyteller and just embellish a little bit, okay? So this first assignment, and you're gonna learn more about it in the next couple of weeks as we're kind of designing this stuff in week 3 and everything. But I just wanted to say to you as we conclude kind of our discussion about the discussion is that take a little bit of pressure off with this assignment. We are really just thinking about our own selves as writers and revising in a new genre. That's it. Unit 1 is not about perfection. It's about accepting ourselves as writers and critical thinkers as people who have a variety of different experiences, as people who have a variety of different passions, as people who have a variety of different skill levels. There will be times in this course, like when we do our rhetorical analysis researched essay, where I'm going to ask you to do very precise things with MLA and your grammar and, putting in your sources. This is not that time. In this assignment that you're going to be working on in week 3, this is the time to kind of, just play around a little bit, to be quite frank. No pressure on this first assignment. You're really playing around with recreating your idea into a new genre, okay? So that's what I kind of want you to think about when you think about what we learned from the moth in the discussion and how you're going to apply that to our work. Now, like I said, I can't grade another student assignment today. I've graded all of my 101s and my 205s and 102s today. So starting tomorrow, you'll start seeing feedback for your SWA1 and you'll get some advice from me on that. That will be forthcoming, but you'll be able to use that, kind of to help you out as you think about developing your graphic narrative. But, really, the takeaway I want you to have is to explore your own ideas and trust yourself as a writer, because I really want to see you be yourself as a writer, because you have it in you, even if you don't think you do. One way to think of this course, English 102, especially the beginning of the course, is we are in the middle. English 101 and English 102 are a sequence of courses that work together. And you've already had English 101 to take your English 102 course. And that's why we start with kind of this weird assignment, because we're kind of in a weird place. We're kind of in the middle of the sequence. We're not at the beginning of your first year composition studies. We're in the middle. So we're stopping to reflect on who we are as writers, what kind of skills we learned in English 101, and what we hope to learn at the conclusion of 102. That is enough for me for today. I have taken up 16 minutes and counting now of your time. I hope that this has helped you kind of know a little bit more about the discussion and, know a little bit more about where we're coming and where we come from, and hopefully where you're going to be going this week and week 3 when you tackle that week 3 task list and all those assignments this week. Have a great week, guys, and if you need anything, feel free to post on our class chatter board. It's been pretty active. Students have been asking questions there. I really appreciate that. It helps for other students to be able to see it. Or, of course, if you have individual comments or questions, you can always email me at buzzarda.midlandstech.edu. Have a great day, guys.